When Amazon rejects a brand registry application, they usually will tell you the reason, but the wording can kind of be vague and hard to understand. Common reasons include the product images do not display your brand name permanently affixed, the trademark image does not match the trademark record, or computer generated images are not accepted. Now, you might read that and still not know what to fix because perhaps the reason that Amazon gave you doesn't seem to actually be true, or you may just not know what they mean. I'm going to decode the most common brand registry photo rejection messages and show you exactly what Amazon is looking for and exactly how to fix each one so that you can get your brand registry approved. In this video, I'll show you what Amazon wants to see when they check your brand registry photos, why images get rejected for things like looking computer generated, not showing the brand name permanently affixed, the text being blurry or not readable, or not matching the trademark record. And I'll show you what to change for each one of those issues so that you can resubmit and get approved. I'll also show you a simple workaround we use with clients that works even if your product wouldn't normally meet Amazon's photo requirements. Before we go through the common rejection reasons, there's a concept that's important to understand. Amazon is not reviewing your photos like a customer. They're comparing what's in your photos to what's in the trademark record, character by character, and they want to make sure the product really exists. And sometimes the difference is something most people wouldn't even notice. For example, I've worked with the brand Brewmate. They sell drinkware. I use their products myself. They're great. Notice the U with the 2 dots in their brand name. That's not a regular U. It's a special character that's common in other languages, but not really something we normally use in English. If that brand were applying for brand registry, the application would need to use the exact character U with the 2 dots, not just a standard U. And the photos they upload would also need to show that same character on the product or packaging. If the photo showed Brewmate with a normal U, even if everything else looked correct, Amazon would not accept the images, because in their system, Brewmate and Brewmate are not the same mark. So you have to understand what Amazon cares about with these images and the specific details that might be causing them to reject your images. Let's go through the most common photo rejection problems and how to fix each one. The first one is probably the most common. With this, Amazon responds back and says that the images look computer generated or digitally altered. Or rather, they say, hey, you can't use computer generated or digitally altered images. A lot of the time, brands get this even though the images they submitted are real. I've also got a method that works when you do everything right and Amazon still thinks they're digitally altered. I'll show you that in a second. Here's what's happening. Amazon's internal team is trying to confirm that the product physically exists, the brand name is physically printed on it, and the image hasn't been edited at all. If the photo looks too polished, too clean, or too similar to listing images, it can trigger a rejection. For example, you can't use pure white backgrounds. Don't remove the background at all. You should be able to see the background. You can't, of course, use mock-ups or 3D renderings. You wouldn't use the images that you're going to put on the listing, for example. So what you should do instead is just take them with a cell phone, take them in a normal environment. If the product is small enough, hold it in your hand. Let your hand cast a shadow over part of the logo. That shadow helps demonstrate that the logo is physically printed on the product and it's interacting with real light. That's something Amazon has told us that they look for. If the product is too large to hold, place it on a table and take multiple angles that clearly show some depth and texture. The goal is to not make the product look attractive. Customers are not going to see these photos. The goal is to make it look undeniably real. If your photos were being rejected for being digitally altered, this is likely the issue. Replace them with unedited natural photos. Try doing the shadow thing if it's a problem, and resubmit before changing anything else. The next common rejection reason is where Amazon will say something like, the product images that you provided do not display your brand name permanently affixed to the product. That means it should look printed, sewn, engraved, etched, molded, or built into the packaging. What usually causes this here is maybe if the brand name's just on a sticker, or it's on a label, or a stamp. If it looks removable, Amazon's not going to approve that. Now, there is a practical workaround we use here all the time for clients where perhaps maybe the product packaging doesn't actually have the brand name printed on it and it's not on the products either. Well, you can create one branded box just for the approval photos. Now, most print shops, they're not going to want to print a single box. So instead, you order a custom vinyl logo decal from Etsy, apply it on a plain box, put your product inside, and you take pictures of that for the brand registry application. Another option is you can get a custom box made on Etsy, and then you use that. Here's an example of a vinyl decal that we used, and it gets approved just fine, and we do that all the time. The next type of rejection usually says something like, the design mark image does not match the image in the trademark record. This one is different from the permanently affixed issue. Amazon is making sure three things match: the trademark record in the USPTO database, which I'm going to show you how to find, the brand name you typed into the brand registry application, and then the brand name shown in your product photos, or if you're using a design mark, the logo that you upload in the application. If even one of those is slightly different, the images can be rejected. The easiest way to check this is to go directly to the USPTO website. Just type in and Google USPTO trademark search. The official USPTO website will usually come up first. It looks like this. You've got a search bar where you can type in the name of your trademark. Now it will show you a lot of similar trademarks. Make sure to find your exact trademark and click on that. Now this opens up a page with all the information the USPTO has about your trademark. There's usually a text version of the mark for a word mark with a preview over here. Or if you're using a design mark, it will show the logo here instead. Whatever is shown here on this website is what the government has, and everything has to match this. If the trademark includes punctuation, spacing, special characters, or any other decorative elements here, your application entry must match that exactly. If it's a word mark, the wording must match exactly. Here on the left, it will always show the words in all caps. The preview image here on the right shows the capitalization format Amazon expects. If this preview image is in all caps, then you have to apply for the brand name in all caps too. If it's a design mark, the logo on your product must match the image in the trademark record. So this picture here on the USPTO website, this field in the brand registry application, and then the brand name on your products all have to match. Now the capitalization between the brand name in your application and this preview image on the USPTO website have to match. However, the capitalization in your product images doesn't have to match. Common mistakes I see is leaving out dashes or punctuation. If you have a design mark, you have to use the exact logo in the preview image here when it asks you to upload the logo. Typing the brand name slightly different in the application than it shows here on the trademark database is going to be a problem. And another thing that has to match that's separate from all of this is the UPC information. If you printed a UPC code on your packaging, Amazon is going to check that against the GS1 database, and they're checking whether the barcode is registered to the same brand that you're applying for, or at least they can see that it's affiliated with you. Here's how you check your barcode to make sure that's not going to be a problem. Now you just Google GS1 UPC lookup. Usually it's the first result that Google shows you. You click on that. You have this search bar where you put in the UPC code in. Then you would just type in the UPC code. And I'm going to use this one here. Then it will show you the company information, and it will show you the name that this UPC code is registered to right here. Now if it's a totally different name, a different address, then they might reject it for that. You can buy your own UPC code, of course, through GS1 and have it be under your name, and that would be better for this application. If it is not your brand name, but it's your company name, that's different, and that's usually fine. They typically don't reject you for that. They can usually tell if it's affiliated. Otherwise, you can do a few things. Now, if that's your only issue, I would try applying with that anyway, after making sure everything else is totally fixed. If that's the only problem and you've gotten rejected for that reason, then you'll probably need to submit information showing that the name that it's registered with is associated with you, or you buy a different UPC code and have that printed on one unit of the packaging instead for this application. The next common rejection reason is when Amazon says something like, the product images are blurry or the brand name is not clearly readable. Now this one's usually straightforward. Amazon reviewers need to clearly read the brand name exactly as it appears. If they can't read it confidently, they will not approve it. They're very picky on that. What causes this most often is just the photo slightly out of focus, the lighting, you might have some glare over the logo. That happens a lot, especially with products that are round or cylinder shaped. The logo might be curved around the packaging and part of it isn't visible. And a lot of the time, the camera was just too far away. So even if it looks readable to you, remember that someone is reviewing this quickly on a screen, and they're really picky. If they cannot make out a single letter, they're going to reject it. Here's what to do instead. Take multiple photos, one that shows the full product and another one close up that clearly shows the brand name. Make sure the camera is focused before taking the picture. A lot of time you have to hold the phone still for a moment, or if it's still not focusing and making the text clear, move it slightly closer or slightly farther away, and that allows the lenses to adjust and wait to take the photo until the text appears clearly on the screen. If there's glare from glossy packaging, you got to tilt the product so that the light doesn't reflect over the text. If the brand name wraps around a curved product, you might have to take multiple photos so that the entire name is clearly visible across the photos. If that's the only issue and none of the other problems we discussed exist, then uploading these clearer photos should resolve it. Now, let's say you're in a situation where you've already gone through this, you've fixed everything we've discussed, and Amazon still rejects it. This does happen. Brand registry applications are reviewed by real people, and then sometimes it seems like they're just reviewed by computers. Different reviewers sometimes enforce things differently, and Amazon is constantly changing the requirements around and often not telling anyone. If this happens, don't just keep resubmitting the same thing again and again. If you've gone through everything in this video and you still can't get approved, that's when it makes sense to get another set of eyes on it. You can leave a comment below and I'll respond. I'll be happy to look at it and tell you what I think is causing the rejection. We can also get on a screen share and review the entire application together. Also, as an Amazon verified partner agency, we do have escalation paths that individual sellers don't have access to. So, when everything truly looks like it's matching up and the system still isn't approving it, we can often get a real person to review it and get the problem fixed if it's something just weird going on Amazon's side. That's not usually necessary, but it is a good option if you've got a really weird situation and it seems like Amazon's AI is just automatically rejecting it or something. Now that you understand how to get your brand registry photos accepted, there's another major decision that you need to consider. That's whether you should be selling FBA or FBM. A lot of brands assume one is automatically better than the other without understanding the real trade-offs. Some of the biggest implications are things that most brands are totally unaware of. In the next video, I break down exactly when FBA makes sense for you, when FBM makes sense, and how to decide what's right for your brand. Click right here to watch that video next.